Welcome to the You Are a Philanthropist podcast. Today, we're talking with Danielle Judd. Danielle is founder of FarmHouse Rescue, which is a virtual farm and workable farm for adults with special needs and children in hospitals.
You are the kind of person who wants to improve the lives of others, but you need to take pride in your everyday actions. You Are a Philanthropist believes that every act of goodwill deserves to be recognized as philanthropy. Each individual action you take impacts another's life. Believe that what you do makes a difference. So call yourself a philanthropist and start a ripple effect of generosity that boomerangs back to you. Go to youareaphilanthropist.com/shop. Style your outside to match your inside. Choose a t-shirt, hoodie, or bag to show how much you love giving to others. That's youareaphilanthropist.com/shop.
Hey y'all, I just want to remind you that I need you to subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast. If you're enjoying it and want more conversations like this and want to help people get more involved with philanthropy, please subscribe, rate, and review. I want to thank you to the people who have already rated this podcast 5 stars. Please click to rate it 5 stars. And here is some awesome reviews. I love hearing the different stories from a variety of people's personalities. We all can contribute with the strengths we have in making the world a better place for all of us to live in. Here's another one. I really enjoy this podcast. It's encouraging to see that I don't have to be a multimillionaire who created a philanthropic foundation to impact people. It's my small gifts of my time and resources that add up. I am a philanthropist. And here's another. There are opportunities all around at an early age to remind us to look out for each other. It's a lifelong journey of seeing the opportunities and acting in them. Thanks for a great reminder. Listeners, please do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review right now so more people can hear more from us and learn more about philanthropy.
Welcome to the You Are a Philanthropist podcast with Jen Klein, a certified fundraising executive and philanthropic entrepreneur. This show is dedicated to empowering and inspiring you to make a difference in your community and our world. Jen believes all acts of kindness matter, and this show is designed to help you take pride in your everyday actions of improving the lives of others and making a change in the world. Now, here's Jen.
Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Danielle, I'm thrilled to have you. You're a real inspiration. I read about your nonprofit, and I was wondering if you could tell my listeners how you got started and what exactly you do.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm so excited. Hopefully you all will like this. So around 6 years ago, I was really sick. I was pregnant with our 3rd child. I got this thing called bacterial meningitis, then sepsis, then severe pneumonia. I had organ failure, and I was in the hospital in and out, for almost 3 months. And I was given these things called 5 wishes, so you can get your affairs in order. I was not given a good prognosis during this all. And through it all, I just kind of reevaluated my life. I thought about things that really mattered to me. What have I done in this world? Like, I'm going to die. What am I giving back to this world? How am I leaving this? There was no amount of good that I could have done in that bed that I just felt like I wasted my life. Just not wasted, but I guess felt so selfish is the word. And I just kind of felt like the most selfish person in the world. And I wasn't a bad person. I brought meals to people, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I brought meals to people that were sick. I was a room mom. I did all this thing. And then I realized that was all self-serving. That all served myself. I was a room mom because my child went to school there and I was making it better for them. Oh, I cleaned my church building. Well, guess what, Danielle? You go to church there. Don't you want to clean? Obviously. So, that was self-serving in a way. So many things that I did that I thought was philanthropic was not at all. It was selfish to me. And that feeling it was awful. It was the worst feeling you could to ever feel when you know that you're going to die and your organs are failing. And I swore to God in that moment, I said, if you let me live, I promise I will change my life for good. I will dedicate my life to doing good things. I will just, I know a lot of people make this promise, but I'm stubborn. And I feel like I'm like, I will do anything I can. I will focus on being good and giving back to the world and making an impact that truly changes the world and lives on after I'm gone. Like, what did I leave? I'm going to leave and nothing's going to be left here. This stinks. I left. Did I leave the world better or the same, or just what was this gift that I was given, and how did I squander it by focusing purely on myself? And it was hard. It was very hard. And so plot twist, I lived, and I started having like seizures and memory loss. I forgot my husband. I forgot, a lot of things. I forgot how to read music. I was a classical pianist, and so many different things that like was me that I thought was me. And I was a designer. And I mean, we all just go, who am I now? What can I give back? And I started down a path of severe depression. I already have depression. I'm an advocate for people with depression, and I have OCD. So that's kind of fun, and ADHD. So I know it's kind of a big mix-up mess here. But I started having other issues and started down this road of severe depression, and I didn't even want to live anymore. I wanted to kill myself. I mean, I have a wonderful husband. I have 3 amazing kids. I had everything to live for. But I mean, I didn't even know who I was or what my purpose here on earth even had to be. And I was at people would come up to me and they'd know me and I'd have no idea who they are. I mean, sometimes that still happens. And I have to kind of think like, okay, they know me, obviously. I don't really remember them. I lost hearing in my right ear. I mean, there were so many different things that I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I just felt it was bad. It just kind of turned in a dark way. And my husband said to me, what can we do that can, like, what brought you happiness? Like, what is it? And I remember when I was a kid, I loved horses, and I'd see horses and I'd love them. And I had an opportunity to ride horses when I was a kid, and I was the happiest at that time. And he said, okay, we're going to find someone with a horse. So found a horse, was happy again. And then I said, I know what I'm here for. I'm going to rescue a horse. And he's like, oh, okay, we're getting a horse. Okay. So great. So I'm like, yeah, so I'm going to rescue this off the track racehorse. And I rescued this horse, and really the horse was rescuing me. And this feeling of fulfillment that I had to give back to this horse, and this horse helping me. And it was so beautiful that, I mean, it was just so incredible to have that feeling with an animal, and to just, that didn't judge you and didn't like know you before, and just built this trust. It was so magical, incredible, that it honestly saved me. She saved me. And I was like, okay, God, this was my purpose. I did it. I rescued a horse. I'm a good person. And then I'm like, no, if I did this for me, imagine how many other people I could do this for. Like, imagine the people that don't have this opportunity that I could do this for, that they need this. So I started rescuing animals. And then we were living in an HOA, and I was just like rescuing these animals, and my husband's like, oh my gosh, this is getting out of hand, to the point where I had like chickens in my backyard, and the HOA didn't like that. And I was like, no, those aren't chickens. They're parrots that were raised on a chicken farm. Like, it got intense. And I was like, rescuing this abused birthday party pony, rescuing. I mean, when you get into animal rescue, there's you have such a heart for animals, that there's so many animals, especially farm animals. They're the most abused animals in the world. And it's just this thing that you just want to help in so many ways, because there's so many animals. And quickly enough, I acquired a large amount of rescue animals that were being boarded in different areas, and we moved to a farm. And I brought them all here and I thought, okay, God, look, I started this farm. This is great. I did such a good job here. I rescued all these animals. And then I realized, wait, no, I need to bring people in. So I started with adults with special needs because when I went to, let's say, the mall or things like that, I would see adults with special needs there. And I mean, it's wonderful, the activities that they have for them. And but I thought, gosh, there's nothing really like a farm for them. And I mean, they're so capable and they have so much to give and so much to do. And they need purpose in some ways, a feeling that, a job. And so I started opening up the farm for that, and they loved it. And it really brought some sense of purpose to them. And I mean, it was just beautiful. I loved it. And then I opened it up to people with depression, veterans with PTSD. And I'm like, this is incredible. Look at this. We're all doing this farm. It's so wonderful. I'm not saying everything was rosy. Definitely not. Having a farm is a lot. Okay. But it was saving a lot of people that were either depressed and wanted to commit suicide, or family died, all their family died, and they had nothing to live for, or, just different things that the farm, they said, saved them. And then I started thinking, well, this is great, but how do because when I was in the hospital, when I was sitting there, I actually would watch TV and start crying at sandals commercials, those cheesy sandals commercials with the couples walking on the beach. I was so upset. I'm like, why are they healthy? I go to church every Sunday. I am like, doing all these things. Why are they healthy? And the only thing that got me through was this show called Naked and Afraid. Have you seen that?
I know the premise.
Yeah. So I thought, you're miserable. I'm miserable. This is great. It really got me through it. But I realized that children have no idea why they're there. And if I was not given that opportunity to be in the hospital, to cry at those sandals commercials, to see that, to feel that, I wouldn't have known. And I'm like, how do I bring the farm to hospitals? So I started thinking of, I could do therapy animals, bring the farm, bring the horse in. But it was just, the logistics of it was crazy. And with COVID and with, because all this came to bloom in 2020. And I just thought, there's no way. I got to get around this. I have to figure out a quick way to get in for these kids because they need it. And I decided, what if I just made this whole farm virtual? Like, what if I put cameras all over the farm and I had them at levels of the animals, and the kids can interact with the animals. I could do story time with them, do go dress up time, do all these things. And they get 24 hours surveillance of the animals. They could, I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and, obviously didn't call anyone, but, these kids can check on the pigs. They could see if Lovey's sleeping. They could see I wonder what the goats are up to right now. I wonder what this one's doing. And just have that friend to know. And they just feel like they're in this area of the farm. And then I took it one step further where I wanted them to actually feel a connection and to make a connection, because there's that virtual aspect, which is great, but there needs to be that emotional connection. And that's when I realized, I went back to roots of pen pals. When I was a kid, I loved pen pals, and it's lost in email now, but I figured, the farm animals could be pen pals with these kids. That'd be so fun, because I make voices. I mean, I don't know, I'm a crazy animal person. I make voices for all the animals here on the farm. And so they all have their own personality, especially George Hamilton III, the great pig. And he's a little stuck up. And so they all have these amazing personalities. And I just thought, gosh, these kids need to see this. They need to feel that. They need to, have a friend with them. So we started the smile boxes where we give them to hospitals. And if they're receiving inpatient care, let's say chemo, they get it right there and they open it up. And inside their box is a FarmHouse Rescue hat, a plushie of a farm animal, a whole system to log onto our smile cams. We have a fidget toy in there, so that way while they're going through something, they could actually, everything in that box is really thought out for that exact purpose in that moment. Like a fidget toy in there, an art project, and then 3 letters with self-addressed to Farmhouse Rescue with stamps on it that they can write to us, and a letter from one of the animals, an initial start letter from Lovey. She's actually the start of it. And she basically says, my name is Lovey. I like to eat alfalfa. I'm sure you don't. I have a best friend named Avalanche. And it goes into the whole thing, like, what do you like? So open questions that they can write back. And we've got letters, and I tell them, I will read the letters to the animals. I will frame them and put them in the stalls for them. And it is, I can't even explain to see when I get a letter in the mail. Like, at first we didn't get any letters, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, I'm like, all right, this kind of, all right, this, I guess they don't want it. That's okay. But that first time I got that letter, I can't even tell you how happy I was and how much it made me smile. And I just knew that it was magical all over again. And I mean, it's just been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. And yeah, that's Farmhouse Rescue.
Wow. I just love what an out of the box thinker you are, and how gifted you are to be creative. Because when children are in the hospital, they need that hope, they need that connection, they need that love, and animals are so giving of themselves that to have them be that source of strength and hope and connection is really touching and empowering. So I think it's just wonderful what you started.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been quite a journey. And I have never been in the nonprofit sector ever in my life. And this is all news to me. I mean, people make careers out of it, and it's insane. Like, I had no idea there's a whole world out there that, that this is. So I'm the founder of this, but the part that I realized is it's such a learning curve. And Farmhouse Rescue, when I've met with other people that are founders of a nonprofit, I've met a couple of them where it was a little ego driven. And it was difficult for me to understand that, because all I wanted to do was help others and to give back and to just make this true nonprofit, like, be something that gives back to the world and in a way that doesn't give back to me. So I don't take a profit from Farmhouse Rescue. I don't make a salary, and I chose as a founder to be the founder that does not take a salary from Farmhouse Rescue, because this is me giving to the world. This is what I want to volunteer and give back. And I will tell you, I've had 24-hour days, and I've read books nonstop. And I mean, it's been such a crazy learning curve for me to understand the world that is the nonprofit. And I mean, we didn't come from money. I mean, no one told me when you start a nonprofit, you have to have a lot of money. That would have been helpful. So that was very difficult. We kind of invested everything in this, and we've given all of everything to build what we have. And I've committed my life, and my children have helped, and my husband has helped, and just people that are along the way that are so giving and so caring to volunteer, to help in so many ways. It's magical. It really is. There's nothing more than just, it's beautiful. But there are days, I mean, every day I'm just like, gosh, this is a lot. This is a lot right now. And, financially it's a lot. But you got to keep going, because when you see those letters that you get in the mail, and that kid needs to, see that, or this adult with special needs is coming, or this person, that's what they're living for, is to see these animals. I'm responsible for that. I have to keep that going. And it is definitely a learning curve.
Danielle, I'd love to talk with you about how you finance your wonderful organization. That's not an easy thing to do. And as a fundraiser, I understand the ins and outs and the difficulties and the strategies and the support you get from people. So I'd love to hear more about how you've made it work financially for your organization.
Okay, well, that is a fun one. So no one told me that it would have been super helpful if somebody said, hey, before you decide to found a nonprofit, it'd be amazing if you were super rich. That would have been really helpful information. I just went in naive thinking, I'm going to do this great thing and I'm going to change the world. And wow, that's all I have to say is, wow, there is such a learning curve to this. And one of my biggest struggles is I thought, gosh, okay, I'm building this incredible thing. And when you start it, you're starting this. So people don't really know what it is. You're telling people, I've started this nonprofit, I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. And you really need support from everybody. You need donations, you need all of that. And it didn't come in. Like, I'm not saying people didn't care, but they kind of didn't care. They were just kind of like, oh, that's nice, cool, all right. And I don't have a background in fundraising. So I mean, there's jobs out there. There's like classes, college classes. And I had no idea. I've never worked in the nonprofit sector before my entire life. And it is just a whole new world. And I realized very quickly that you have to have a great website. But guess what? I don't have the money to hire a website designer. So guess who's an incredible website designer? It's me. With the help of YouTube, I had to learn how to do graphics and all, digital art and all that stuff. But guess what? Can't afford that. So Danielle, digital artist over here. And then I also needed a farmhand, and that's Danielle too. I mean, I wish I had a business card with the beginning of FarmHouse Rescue and all that. Beginning, because you can't hire that, and you really have to, when you start something, when you want to do it, you have to have so much passion to see it through, to make it work, or it's not going to work. And it's that passion that drives you. It's that passion that makes you stay up 24 hours just to finish a website, to finish this, to learn how to do something, to learn how to send out a newsletter. And then finally, after a while, people start to see what you're doing. They start to see the impact that it has. And slowly but surely, you start to find volunteers that come in, and you're doing all this work. You're helping the world. You're giving so much. I mean, financially, we've given everything because this is my purpose. This was what I was meant to do and why I'm here. And we have given everything to this nonprofit. We were the biggest donors of everything. I mean, we just put it all to help others. And this is our life's mission, is to change the world in a better way. But in order to do that, you need stories. You need to show that it's working, and you need to show people what you're doing for them to donate or to feel a need. And in 2020 is when we really started the nonprofit to got the farm, everything was together. 2020 is when the farm was actually done. And it was COVID, and that sucked. I mean, everyone's losing their job, and nobody's really caring about nonprofits here. And we can't throw fundraisers because, would love to do goat yoga with so many people at so many farm tour. And you realize, okay, that'll bring in dollars, but we need more than that, because to feed these animals, I mean, to run this farm, it's around 10 grand a month. And that means that I have to figure out how to fundraise 10 grand a month for this. And, that's like 120 grand a year that you have to fundraise bare minimum just to keep this operation going. And it's such a big number to me, but I mean, then I created this, I realized that people don't really like giving money sometimes. Because they don't really know where it goes. Like, I understand that, because when I started researching nonprofits, I realized people get a salary, and I don't make a salary from this. I decided that was going to be something that I chose not to do as a founder. I do not make a salary from FarmHouse Rescue. This is my giving back. So any donation is given to the farm, is given to others. It's a true nonprofit in that sense, and in every sense, basically. I wanted it to be just to be so raw nonprofit that people can see where it's going and see how we're helping. But I mean, some people just don't want to give, and they need a push, which is why a lot of times we have silent auctions, right, at events, because people want to buy something in return for something that they're giving. And so I created a line of products for Farmhouse Rescue, and that's our soaps. And I created soaps that are named after the animals on the farm, and the scents are inspired by the animals. Like we have Rebel, who's a rooster, and he's super feisty. He's a fighting rooster, so he's like a cedarwood, sandalwood. Like Lovey is a mare horse and only is nice like 2 days out of the month. So she's like a bittersweet, like a lemongrass basil. And so they're named after animals on the farm, and all proceeds are donated. So I would do farmers markets. And then we just getting the word out there, just and building your team. I mean, that is something that this is not me. I could not do Farmhouse Rescue like without all these amazing people that have come in and helped. I mean, this is just, it's so incredible. And I never want Farmhouse Rescue to ever just be Farmhouse Rescue, Danielle Judd. I understand I founded it and people like to hear from the founder, but I want them to know that this is an organization that I didn't just do this all on my own. This wasn't me. This is people like, yes, in the beginning it was all me, but I have people that have stepped in and have helped me, and interns that have just, picked me up and just returned to these emails. And I mean, even reached out to you. I would be nowhere without the wonderful, incredible people around me that just see the beautifulness that we're doing. I don't even know if that's a word. Beautifulness. I'm going to go with it. And they just see what good we're doing and the good that we give back. And they go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And then they start to talk to their friends and they say, well, I know that you donate to other places, but Farmhouse Rescue, would you be interested in donating? And people have donated, and it's been so helpful. And we want an open to the public location. We're not done. And we have so much to build on, so much to give back, that this isn't the end. And we can build so much more and do so much more. And this is just the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, as a fundraiser, I understand the challenges of raising money and the ins and outs of it. And I commend you on learning it on the fly, right? Because you had already started a nonprofit.
Gosh.
And it's something you just have to learn as you go.
I mean, lucky for me, my husband, he went to BYU School of Accounting, which is a really good school for accounting. And he has helped a lot with that. But, honestly, at first I would this is going to sound so bad. Okay, people don't I would totally take his credit card and I'm like, just give that to the feed store. And like, oh, sure. And then he started finding out, which was like super upsetting for me. And he was like, you got to do this on your own. Like, you have to. But I'm like, okay. And that was a big push that took. He's like, we can't support Farmhouse Rescue going forward. And and I'm so grateful for that. But that was really hard. I mean, you get desperate.
Absolutely. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, there are so many of all of those every day.
We've actually had another founder on the show that I know in my town because I helped her start a nonprofit, and it's called Littleton Community Farm. And so it's another farm. This is a vegetable farm for locals. Yeah. So I'm curious how you got the name Farmhouse Rescue, because it seems like you were rescuing people, but people are rescuing you. And there's just this wonderful community aspect. How did you come up with the name?
The branding, of course, I had to hire an incredible branding person myself. And we have this barn, and it's actually the barn on the logo. And I just thought, okay, these were the initial animals that we had. I put it over it, and I couldn't think of, I'm just like, okay, well, what is this? It's a farmhouse. I mean, it's a farm, but it's a house. And farmhouse makes you think you're restoring, but no, we're a house. We're a community. We're a family here. So that's what I mean by Farmhouse Rescue. It's a full family, and we're the farm. And people will say, oh, well, I'm going to the farm today, or am I meeting you at Farmhouse? And it's just known for something more than just the definition of farmhouse. It's the actual home. So, and it is our home. So that's also fun.
So you live on the farm, right?
Yes, which is insane.
And
yeah.
I saw from a wonderful video that you have community meals together.
Oh, yes, we have. Well, my table is very open to my dining table. I love to cook. It's one of my favorite things. And obviously, I don't have a lot of time to ever do it. So when I do it, it's kind of magical. It kind of puts things, I stop things when I realize people are hungry. It's the Italian in me that just wants to feed people. I'm like, eat, please, eat more. And it's just something about being together in a dinner table that really brings people together. But everyone that's on the farm or anyone that's there at that time, I'm just like, are you hungry? Do you want to come eat? Because we're a family, because we all help each other. Our volunteers are, I know everything. We're very, very close. Anybody that helps, we're very close. They're all there for, I'm there for them and they're there for me. And I know that, I want to help the world in any way I can.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job. And I'm just curious, where do you get this inspiration to give back to the world? Is it in that moment when you were having difficulty in the hospital? Is there something in your, past that also inspired you? What's your greatest source of inspiration?
I think it was honestly, it's the people that I see every day. The good people, because there's a lot of bad people out there, but it's the little good moments that you see and the little things that people do. I'm inspired every day by the goodness of people and the amount of good that they want to give back and to see their heart. And that it fuels me. Like, I know people want to do good. They want to be a good person. They do. And I could see it and I feed off of it because I love it. Like I do. And it charges me. It does. It charges my battery. I'm just like, yes, you want to do good? Me too. I want to do good. Like, let's do good together. And I'm inspired every day. I'm inspired by volunteers that come here. I have a wonderful in-house one that's Helen that comes in and she is on her computer and just working hard. And I'm inspired by her love to help others. And it's beautiful. It really is. And just like you, I'm inspired by you just to see that you're doing this podcast. And I heard that you're writing a book. I mean, that is inspirational in itself to just know the good that you're doing and the good that you're giving back. There's so much good in this world. There really is.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And thank you again for being on my show. It's a pleasure. And now I'd like to speak directly to our listeners and that you would share what your advice is for our listeners who maybe don't know how to get started, maybe are thinking about founding a nonprofit or thinking about their local community who they might be able to help. What's your advice for what they can start to do today, tomorrow, and as they process changing the world one step at a time?
Wow. I love this question. I really do. And I want everyone to know that I get a lot of people that call me and say, gosh, when I retire, I really want to do what you're doing. And this is not a sport you do when you retire, starting a nonprofit. This is not easy work, people, especially a farm or an animal nonprofit. This is hard work, okay? This is not a retirement job unless you're crazy like me. And I will tell you, you don't have to found something to give back. You don't have to be the person that founded it, that started it. Like, put that ego aside for a minute, because a lot of it is ego. And you don't have to do that. Help others. There's so many people like me. I want your help. If you're thinking, I want to help, but I don't really like animals, I guarantee you there's so many things that you can do that is so, like, if you have time to answer emails, if you have time to do things like that, that frees up so many people's time that they can work and giving back. Like, don't think that you have to start something to give back to the world. Help someone else. Don't think that oh, I'm going to go to them because the other small ones don't know. These small ones need your help too, a lot. And take a minute and look at who they employ. Look at their, find out about them. If there's a number, call them, ask them, say, hey, I'm a donor and give me a call. You can call me, call the number straight on the website. Say, I'm a donor and I would love to donate. And I'm interested in knowing what you would do with this donation. Find out, because if they're not going to tell you what they're going to do with your donation and they're not going to talk to you, I mean, that I'll tell you straight out. I'll thank you on the phone. I'll tell you what we need. And just really just give yourself and just take a minute. And I think everyone needs to volunteer somewhere. They do. It's just part of life. And my one advice to parents is stop lying about your kids' high school volunteering hours. Okay? It's not fun. Don't call nonprofits for your high school kid. Have your kid call. Whenever I get a parent call me and say, hi, my son needs hours for high school and to volunteer and this, I always say, really? Okay. Have your son call me because I want to talk to him or I want to talk to her. So, do your investigation work, be there, but let your kids see you volunteering, you giving your time. And when you volunteer somewhere, you need to realize this is for an organization that is giving back to the community. When you volunteer, this shouldn't give you anything back. You're giving your time. It's all about giving. You shouldn't get things back. Yes, you should feel good about giving, but this isn't about you. This is about the organization that you're helping. So really understand what it means to volunteer and what it means to give, because that's giving of yourself. And that has nothing to do with any needs that you have besides wanting to just give.
I just love what you said. It resonates with me so much. Like you mentioned, I am writing a book. It's called Giving is Selfish. And the reason why I believe it's selfish is because it feels so good to give.
It does. It feels incredible. It really does, which is why I tell everyone, I'm like, if you can do one thing in life, I suggest that you volunteer somewhere. Volunteer at a shelter, volunteer at a nonprofit organization, volunteer into anywhere that you can, at least a couple of hours a week. Just once a week. That's it. Just a couple of hours a week. Volunteer wherever you can find it. And that will make a huge difference in your life. And it'll make a big difference in that organization's life as well.
I totally agree. And I found a statistic that 25% of Americans volunteer. And I thought, what if it was 75? How much more could we get accomplished if it was more than a quarter of us?
I mean, I feel like giving, like how I felt before I was sick and before I'm actually so grateful that I had, oh, sorry, that's my phone. Helen said, how did the podcast go?
Oh.
Going great, Helen.
That's so
I
sweet.
love her so much. See, I mean, look, it's late and that is me right there. That she cares so much. Her day's not over.
Yeah, it's after hours.
Yes. I mean, look at this.
That's awesome.
This is just these people, you guys, everyone that's even listening to this, I congratulate you for taking the time to even listen to this, to learn how to give back, to learn about what people are doing out there. You are a good person. You really are. And you're capable of great things.
Wow, Danielle. Thank you so much for reminding our listeners about the power that they have and just the inspiration that they are for wanting to make a difference in their communities. Because I know all my listeners are inspired by my guests and inspired by the volunteerism and the philanthropy. And that in and of itself is motivation and inspiring. So I'm curious what your vision for FarmHouse Rescue is in the future, as well as how that fits into your overall ideas about making the world a better place?
Gosh, I can't. I'm so happy. You have the best questions, I swear. This is great. My vision for Farmhouse Rescue is our next step, and that's to find an open to the public location. We need to start our open to the public location because we have so many people that are part of school systems and different areas that want to come visit, but because we are obviously not open to the public, it's harder, and that can also fund us as well. And it could just be this great thing that gives back to the community. And in that, I want to work with, after our first one, I'd love to open up more of them around different areas. And I mean, land donations or anything like that are incredible, or just donations for that would be great. But to make this, because farmland and farm community is something of the past in a lot of areas, especially I'm from California, Orange County, California, and it's not here anymore. And I mean, the more houses that we build, the less it's going to be here. And a farm is hard work. Your fingers are dirty, your knees are scraped. It's down to the earth. It's giving people a community, and that's what people need. They need a community. If we can open up an open to the public location, and we start with our first one, I really feel like that would be life-changing for so many people and just give back so much good. And from there, who knows?
That's beautiful. Well, I do want to make sure our listeners know how to donate to you if they'd like, if they feel so inclined. So could you just tell them your website?
Sure, I would love to. So the website is farmhouserescue.org. So just farmhouserescue.org. And you can go right on there. You can learn about our news. You can see the donate button. You can hit that. If you're someone that has a child that's in the hospital and, going through something, we have a login section there for our virtual cams, and we can get you set up with our smile boxes. We're getting our smile boxes into different hospitals. If you are part of a hospital and you'd like to have the Farmhouse Rescue smile cam be a part of your pediatric oncology department, we're more than happy. Just get a hold of us, send us an email, and we'll get it right over to you. And of course, you can always donate for smile boxes for kids as well. They're like $20 a piece. So every $20, we give another smile box.
Oh, Danielle, thank you for what you're doing, for being on my show. And for our listeners, you can go to my website to find more information and the episode show notes. That's youarephilanthropist.com. Danielle, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.